that he voted for it instantly. He was one of the first ones put his name on that thing. I watched it as they went through on C-SPAN.
Right.
Now, you can't tell me that
he didn't know what he was doing.
That he didn't know what he was doing when he talked to some of us at that town hall meeting and said he wouldn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I call integrity.
Yeah. Absolutely good point.
Concerning the so-called Bush tax cuts, two-part question.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen? And second question, what would you do?
Well, the first part of the question is the biggest challenge that America has right now, because I have no idea what's going to happen. And nor do the businesses and investors of the United States have any idea what's going to happen. That's why you have businesses sitting on about $2 trillion of capital right now that could be out there creating jobs. That's why you have businesses not hiring people, because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what the next 2 weeks or the next 2 months or the next 2 years of taxes or regulation or just, I mean, even getting past that is the anti-business mindset that's coming out of Washington, D.C. I've never heard people talk more about how much they love jobs and love people to work and hate the people that actually create the jobs. Or even, and they don't say that, okay, but everything they do across the board is destructive to the things we need to do to create jobs. So the first answer is I don't have any idea, but I hope they figure it out soon, because if they don't figure it out, we're talking about almost $4 trillion of tax increases that begin over the next 10-year period, begin on January 1st, 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think our economy is in bad shape right now, if you think that 10.6% unemployment in Oregon is bad, and it is, of course, if you think that the much higher level of underemployed or people just too scared or lacking the opportunity to move, wait till they pass a $4 trillion tax increase. The majority of that, frankly, is on the formation of capital as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot have a small business without investment, and you cannot have investment without facilitating and incentivizing the formation of capital. Yet our tax structure in the United States today, even before these tax increases are kicked in, is one of the worst in the world. In fact, our corporate tax rates are second highest in the world, second only to Japan, as far as incentivizing and the formation of capital. What would I do? You got to take the tax increases off the table. No question about it. They cannot be allowed to sunset. And we're not just talking about the taxes they're talking about. We're talking about taxes for everybody. Do you know that if Deloitte & Touche, which is a tax accounting agency, they say that for the average family that makes four-person family that makes $50,000 a year, the tax increases that will happen in January without change will be a $2,400 tax increase, on top of what they're paying now. For a same-size family of four that makes $100,000, it's almost $5,000 of tax increases. These are middle Americans, ladies and gentlemen. So the tax increases absolutely have to be on the table, but we have to go a step further, Gordon. We've got to simplify taxes, and we've got to make taxes more effective to create the things we want. We want more people working, we want more people saving, and we want more people and entities investing, because that's what makes this economy work. And so we've got to reform taxes. We haven't had tax reform since 1986, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to get back to that, and simplification. So, great question. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that got me energized this year is that our congressmen take an oath of office to serve the people of the United States. How can they serve the people of the United States and pass a bill that they haven't read and said, we'll find out what it's like when it's passed?
Do you know that on every spending bill that's happened in this current Congress, so this current Congress was inaugurated, if you will, in January of 2009. Every single spending bill, how do I say this better? None of the spending bills, this is better said, none of the spending bills that have come out of this Congress have had an open amendment process. Okay? This is the basic deliberative. This is a committee. I'm a legislator. You sit in a committee and you have an amendment that's introduced and you deliberate upon it in the committee. You vote it up or down, and once it's voted up or down, it's attached to the main bill. And you can see that, and then it goes, once the whole bill passes out of committee, it goes to the full floor for a vote. They don't do that in Congress anymore. They twist the rules so they don't have the open light of day deliberation that goes on. You hit it right on the head. There is no way. I mean, my opponent, Kurt Schrader, in a public forum, said that he read the health care bill. Okay, he probably has now. Okay, because it was passed in March. Okay, and now it's September now. So I actually give him credit that he probably has. But to suggest that he read the health care bill before he actually voted on it is, I'm just going to throw that out there, unless he did the Evelyn Wood thing that I don't know about and retains it. Because the healthcare bill is 2,400 pages, ladies and gentlemen. They received the bill 72 hours before they voted. I went and looked at it. Do you know how long War and Peace is? War and Peace is 1,200 pages. Okay, this was twice as long as War and Peace, and yet we're to believe that they were able to read the bill prior to vote. It's ridiculous. And so one of the things that we Republicans, I'm certainly running on this, but we Republicans are saying, you've got to give members of Congress enough time to read the bill, but what that really means is deliberate upon the bill. You don't ram it through. You put it out there, you put it online. There shouldn't be a single bill in Congress that's voted on. I don't care what the bill is. It could be something that you don't care about and you'll never have any interest in it. It ought to be online at least 72 hours before we have to vote on it. There has to be public scrutiny, and there has to be time for people like myself to read the bill. And if I can't, and here's my pledge to you. If I haven't been given the time to understand the legislation, then I'm a no. Okay, now if I've been given the time, and for some reason I don't understand, shame on me, I haven't done my homework. But I hope I'm not going to be in that position. So.
Didn't the president, when before he was elected, promise that all the legislation would be on C-SPAN or something like that for 3
Oh, and remember how the healthcare was going to be a big open process?
The IRS, to put this in your parcel of things you know about the healthcare bill, Internal Revenue Service has district offices, I'm sure you're aware. The liaison officer, Brian Mosniak, and their committee are still trying to interpret what some parts of this healthcare bill mean. And they work on a section, and then they get together with the other district offices in a committee trying to decide how IRS is going to handle that particular area, and then go on to another chapter. I mean, if anybody that tells you they read this bill and understood it perfectly is crazy.
Diane raised a great point, though, and when I sort of was lamenting the fact that this stimulus bill and this Congress hasn't done anything to create jobs, I forgot to mention the 16,000 new IRS positions that were created with the healthcare bill. So my bad, I apologize. Yes. How much time do we have? Are we doing okay? You tell me.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
They're not going to throw us out yet.
Okay.
On healthcare, I'm seeing doctors coming out of private practice becoming hospital employees.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of us on Medicare, they're taking $500 billion.
Yeah.
So how are we going to be able to buy what's going to happen to our Med Advantage?
Remember the president during well, I think back in the 2008 campaign, and then as sort of, if you will, the campaign once he was elected to get to healthcare. Remember he told you that if you like your insurance, you get to keep it? I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you like your insurance, you don't get to keep it.
You frame the policy and hang it on the wall.
Medicare Advantage is exactly, and that to me is one of the biggest travesties in this healthcare bill. And I don't even know where you start with how many travesties are in this healthcare bill. Over $500 billion in new taxes. You know, the 1099s we were talking about, Diane, that issue, and the 16,000 new IRS agents to enforce that. The question of the constitutionality of the bill, you know, where in the Constitution does it say you can mandate the purchase, that Congress can mandate the purchase of a service? Nowhere, of course. And yes, you know, they talk about how, you know, they're there to protect the seniors and they're there to protect entitlements, and yet to fund their bill, or to fund that health care bill, a $500 billion slash to the underbelly, if you will, of Medicare. And what's most egregious about that is Medicare has issues. I mean, Medicare is not a perfectly run entity. We need to make it stronger and better for seniors.